Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for the opportunity to share our accomplishments and struggles with all of you. And I appreciate you guys coming and being interested in what we have done. I think it's all about collaboration and learning from each other nowadays. So let me start by introducing Virginia Department of Transportation. Virginia Department of Transportation is a state agency that is responsible for maintaining the infrastructure. Basically, we build, operate, and maintain the roads, bridges, and tunnels that our public is traveling on. We have 50,000 miles of interstate, primary roads, bridges, tunnels, as I said, that present their own challenges. And we are the third largest state-maintained highway system in the country. We employ over 7,800 people full-time, and we're composed of 9 different districts and 5 regions, and we have over 250 offices throughout the state. Our mission is to make sure our public is traveling safely. We transport the goods and people throughout the state. We enhance our economy and make a positive impact on the quality of life of our public and residents of the state. As we all have our own challenges, we at VDOT have our own factors inside and outside that affect our opportunities for innovation and drive our innovation. As I mentioned, 58,000 miles don't maintain themselves, and roads and bridges tend to wear and need repairs. And as they age, we always on the lookout for the cost-effective, quick, and lasting innovations that will keep our traveling public safe. Again, safety is a big factor for us. We want our workforce that maintains the roads be safe, and we want our traveling public always be safe. So we're always on the lookout for things to improve and keep our people alive and well. As new technologies appear and connected and autonomous vehicles enter, and pretty much unavoidable, the drones come out there, 5G, AI, all those things require updates to the infrastructure. Connected autonomous vehicles talk to the traffic lights. They need to know where the lines on the road and so forth. So this definitely have a huge impact on what we do and how we do it. And we need to be prepared and, again, have our public safe on the roads with all the innovations. And again, as tech appears from every direction for every use, cybersecurity becomes a huge factor in our innovation because not only we need to keep public safe, but we need to keep the data and information and infrastructure safe as well. Resource allocations, I think, familiar to everybody else. We're all looking for faster, better, cheaper ways to do things and make every dollar stretch. So that's always, and I think for everybody, universally driving a factor for innovation. So innovation at VDOT. We want every employee to be engaged in innovation at VDOT, and it all starts with understanding what innovation truly is. A lot of times innovation is mistaken for shiny new objects or tech, but truly the innovation is a process of discovering new ways to do things better. And we want every employee to feel comfortable and understand that even small adjustment or a small introduction to the business and the process can be very innovative and save millions of dollars, a lot of hours, and help folks to get through the day. So, in fact, some of the smallest innovations created some of the bigger impacts. So we want our employees, our associates, to be comfortable with being innovators and understand what innovation is. Some of our principles, innovative principles, first of all employees are welcome and encouraged to contribute to ideas. I think it's critical that people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and ideas despite of the rank or the tenure with the organization or where they work. They may be in a leadership role, they may be in a supportive role, they may be in the field, they may be in an office. All of those folks encounter problems and opportunities for innovation every day, and we want them to be comfortable and have the platform to share. So we welcome all the ideas. We also want to capture all the ideas centrally. As I mentioned, we have over 250 offices throughout the state, and it's important that there is some sort of collaboration, and we are not siloed. If somebody in Stanton having a problem, perhaps somebody in Salem already had that problem and encountered it and resolved it. So we want to have this joint collaborative space where folks can throw the problems and solutions and collaborate together. We also want to make sure that we don't have the model where one fits all or doesn't fit anything. Depending on our project, innovation project, or an idea, the scaling and piloting may be different. Some things will require a prolonged pilot and assessment. Some things are easy to implement, and we don't want to pigeonhole anything and fit the mold that doesn't work. So we want to be flexible and support the ideas in the appropriate way for the idea. We also don't want the process of innovation to be so complicated that it provides hurdles to innovation idea development and implementation. The process should be clear, simple, and don't create extra obstacles. Sometimes as the government agencies, we have a lot of requirements that we have to check off before we can move on to implementation. So we're very cognizant of making the process easy and not just another bureaucratic red tape, step by step, must be followed. And finally, there's so many things happening out there. There's so many things we want to implement. We see new inventions happen every day, new processes. Everybody's sharing the newest and greatest. But what's important to us that innovation that we empower in our agency fits our business strategies and our needs that puts forth by our Office of Secretary and take care of our mission as an agency. So we talked a lot about creating a process that's simple and clear. And this is something that we can unpack for quite a while, this slide, but I'm going to spend just a minute on it. We hired a consultant, worked together, held a lot of interviews, and this is what basically we came up with. 4 simple steps, right? Generate, review, pilot, and scale. Seems simple, but there's a lot of things that go into it. And, in an agency of 7,800 people that's spread out, you got to support this process. So the Office of Strategic Innovation is the team that I work on and was established to support that and achieve the innovative vision for our agency. We want to make sure that it doesn't matter where an employee is and what division or what department or district, they have a place they can go for support. And our team provides that. As you can see, our goals helping to foster the culture of innovation within our agency. We provide support to the districts and divisions to make sure if they have an idea, they know how to develop it further and implement it. And we also want to kind of find those good ideas and help them become a reality. And we partner with various divisions and departments. We rarely are the ones who take advantage of the process at the end or the innovation at the end. We are there to kind of support, lead, enable through education, partnering, providing know-how, and monitoring progress and stepping in to help folks. We have, on our team, we have folks that are very, very well versed in connected and autonomous vehicles, data science, machine learning, and we have a couple of engineers, and all these folks provide support to the agency. Finally, we have processes, tools, people, and culture. I talked that we always foster a culture of innovation and creativity. We encourage our people to learn more and develop themselves. We try to provide processes and tools to support that. And one of the tools we brought on board this year is Idea Driver. This is our name for Idea Scale Innovation Crowdsourcing Platform. It's been quite a journey. We have launched in April of 2020, and if many of you recall, it was an interesting time to launch. Most of the country went and shut down, Virginia for sure. So our two inaugural campaigns were tied to COVID-19. First was on social distancing. Don't stand so close to me. Perhaps somebody can recognize the tune and the reference. So we wanted folks to share the best practices, how they staying 6 feet apart and getting the job done. Because a lot of our folks are used to working in the field and require hand-to-hand, shoulder-to-shoulder kind of work. So we wanted to see ideas they have for that. And then working remotely was somewhat of a unique campaign that we put together because we wanted not just solutions, right? We didn't just want ideas, we also wanted problems. We wanted it to be a collaborative space where folks could stick the problems, the solutions, the tools, the processes they discover, and just share. It wasn't really perhaps very targeted campaign, but it was a campaign that I think brought a lot of folks in. And then the last 8 months, we completed 12 campaigns. And at this point, we're 18 members strong, which we're very proud of this number because half of our employees just recently got access to technology and email addresses, so they were not able to be a part of Idea Driver until recently. Those are usually the folks that work in the field, but we're working really hard to get them on board. But this 1,800 of roughly 3,500 is about 50% of our employees who have access to technology on a daily basis are members of Idea Driver. And I think it's a really great accomplishment in the first few months. We're very proud of that. And as I said, we're working hard to get all the folks from the field get engaged because they are the ones who face the problems every day. And sometimes when you deal with something every day, you find the solution that best fits the situation. Those guys know what they need to fix the problems. So Idea Driver is one of the tools we employ. We also empower our innovation within our agency through innovation labs. The purpose, again, inculcate that an innovative thought process, make sure everybody understands what innovation is. We can't underestimate the definition of innovation. We also want everybody to know what to do with the ideas. I have an idea. What do I do with it? What are the steps from inception to fruition, really? Do I send it to my supervisor? How do I build a team? How I develop it? What resources do I need? So we share that process with our folks, and we have this event, Innovation Lab, where we explain the process. And we want to get it to the point where innovative process is just the way we think day in and day out. It's a business as usual. It's a standard operating procedure. It's nothing new. So we want our employees to be comfortable. So we do those innovation labs. And historically, traditionally, in a year, almost 2 years since Office of Strategic Innovation have been established, we would do them in person. It was a big event where we would invite folks to come. We will all join in one place, convention center of some sort, and have this huge event. We always ask people to volunteer. We don't tell people you have to go to the innovation lab. We send out an announcement out there and we say, hey, we're hosting this event. This is what it's about. If you want to be a part of it, please reach out, volunteer, reach out to your supervisor, making sure that, there is a backup for your duties, but we would love to see you. And people volunteer, and we encourage people, again, you'll see a theme of all roles, all tenure, field office, doesn't matter. We want people of variety of jobs to be in those innovation labs because we need different perspectives from everybody. So usually the innovation lab lasts a couple of days. In the mornings, we usually have the educational content. We hammer in the definition of innovation, innovative processes, what to do with your ideas. We invite a bunch of speakers from the agency and from outside, inventors, innovators, very, very interesting folks to present and inspire our teams. and our Innovation Lab participants. And then we also form our Innovation Lab participants in teams and let them brainstorm about what's keeping them up at night. What would they change within the agency to make this agency better? And usually there's a wall full of sticky notes, about 80, 90 come up. And then each team has to pick one problem. And they spend the rest of the time in the brainstorming sessions and the working sessions, researching, thinking through solutions, putting together a presentation. And on the last day of the Innovation Lab, they present the problem and solution to the panel of judges and the peers. And we have a panel, judges panel winner, and we have a popular vote winner. So that has been our Innovation Labs in person. Well, when COVID came, we realized we're not willing to give up our innovative spirit and our Innovation Labs. So we so far had 2 innovation labs virtually, and we have 2 more in the making that we're planning right now. These are district innovation labs, so they're not statewide. They're a little smaller, a little more intimate, but yet they're very, very powerful and being a really great experience. We enable those through MS Teams and Idea Driver. It's still a 2, sometimes 3-day event. In the last labs, we had about 25 to 30 participants throughout the district. Again, folks have to volunteer. We don't make anybody to participate. People raise hands. We form them in teams, and we form teams ourselves simply because we want every type of role to be represented on a team, and a team to be diverse versus team being made out of field crew and team being made out of office folks. We kind of mix everybody together to make sure there's variety of perspectives and the views presented in the team. And what we also do, we assign a mentor to a team. So a mentor kind of can guide the team through the process. This is usually somebody very experienced and well-versed in the innovation process and agency in general. To support that, we also open Innovation Lab campaign with an Idea Driver about 4 to 6 weeks prior to the event. So remember, I mentioned during our live labs, everybody was throwing the problems on the wall. So this is our wall, right? But we open the wall to entire district. So not only the lab participants now can participate in that, brainstorming, thinking of problems and solutions process, but the entire district can. So, and it provides a wider variety of problems to solve. So our participants, again, formed in the teams, and the team picks one out of those ideas from the district to solve. And again, they work on the solutions, and they present, and a panel of judges decides on the winner based on the predetermined criteria, which I will show a little bit. And I must say, it's been a great experience for everybody. But we do learn a lot of lessons as we go through this. So, and this is how we set up the MS Teams. MS Teams is our virtual meeting hall. This is where we all get up and get together. So we determined that the best way to use that MS Teams space is through the channels. We build one general channel where our speakers and presenters share the information, the presentations and knowledge. This is where agenda for the day is shared, and all the announcements being made for the housekeeping things on the Innovation Lab. And then we have individual team channel for each team, where teams retire to brainstorm and build the solution and prepare the presentations. And finally, we have another channel for the judges' deliberations, where they can assess the winning presentations and or presentation and select a winner. This is our flow of events, so to speak. So as I said, we start the campaign 4 to 6 weeks prior to Innovation Lab, and it starts with the brainstorming stage where everybody can throw their ideas, vote on the ideas, comment. And then at the day of the event, once team picks a problem to work on or idea to work on, those ideas are moving to build team and solution. Usually it's there's as many as the teams, usually five to six, normal amount of teams that we have for Virtual Innovation Lab. So teams work through the problems. They use comment section, annotations, whatever they want, and outside sources and the MS Team notes to kind of build the solution. And once they're ready to present, those selected ideas move to judges' vote stage, where judges can assess them as teams presenting the solutions and assign the score for each category. So what does the winner get once we have a winner? Well, they usually get a little 3D printed trophy that we design. But most importantly, they get to see the idea to be piloted and tested in the agency. And if the pilot is successful, the idea gets implemented, scaled proportionally to the idea, if it's for a particular district or division, or so it's maybe partial implementation or full scale implementation, depending on what it is. And finally, there are two reserve stages. And I want to say that not just because the idea that was submitted for Innovation Lab did not get picked by a team to be worked during the Innovation Lab, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. So we usually, within a month or two after the Innovation Lab have been held, form a committee from the district, and we review every idea that was submitted and decide if we want to pursue it further. So it's not just one idea that comes out of that Innovation Lab. Yes, during the brainstorming session in Innovation Lab, only one idea comes out. But at the end, there may be 10 or 15 ideas that get worked additionally. And so they go through the same flow: pilot, implement, and implement it. And the rest ideas go to the reserve. Here's our evaluation criteria. We thought it's important to develop a good even criteria. And this is what we came up with. Challenge identification is important. We need to make sure that it's a real problem and it's presented well in a concise manner. Idea validation really is this a great solution for our agencies? It's something that actually matches our strategic priorities. Do we want to pursue it? Does it support and improve our program delivery? That's very important. Stakeholder identification is another one. Whatever we're going to do is going to go and impact somebody. So we want to make sure that we don't miss anybody and get everybody's perspective. And all the right parties engaged in it. Finally, the proof of concept. Is it a feasible idea? Is it a reasonable idea? Is it truly implementable? There's some things that may be great ideas, but just can't be done, unfortunately. Finally, innovation factor, how innovative the idea is, what's the innovation within the idea, and how it challenges and addresses a problem. And finally, solution, again, can we afford the solution? Have you considered all the alternate solutions? And this is what we use as evaluation criteria for innovation labs. These are two winning ideas from the first two virtual innovation labs. Teams worked very hard and presented great solutions. I do know that while they're still not implemented, folks are working to make them happen. There's team formed and we're working on it. So some of our best practices and lessons learned, because we attract folks from all kinds of roles throughout the agency, our technologies orientation is a must. We usually do those maybe an hour or two, depending on what questions happen. We do it a couple of days before the event. We make sure everybody can connect. Everybody knows the difference between the general channel and team channel and how to navigate between them. We make sure everybody has the right connectivity. We make sure everybody has the right devices to support them through the Innovation Lab. Those are logistical details, but they are the ones that lay out the success for the event and eliminate distractions during the event and frustrations, and let people focus on what's important, right? And be creative. Team mentors are a huge contributing factor to the success of our innovation labs. Because we have people on the team who never worked together and they may not never heard of innovation process, it's important to have folks who can help them and navigate them and guide them and help them find the appropriate resources necessary to solve the problems. Usually we ask mentors just to be that, mentors and guides. They're not supposed to influence the choice of idea or solution. They're just there for support purposes only. Another important thing we noticed is that it's great to connect the team members prior to the event. You know, creative process can be messy at times and there are a lot of opinions can happen. Folks can be passionate about their idea and it's not always the best idea or best way to move forward. So there should be a certain level of comfort and mutual respect in the team to have the objective communication and a process happening. So connecting the team members is very important. Mentors play a big role in that. And we notice that sometimes team gets together a little earlier and they have little icebreakers, meaningful icebreakers, just to kind of connect on the human level. Just because they come from the same district doesn't mean they work hand and shoulder to shoulder and know each other. And a big one for us to make sure they know all the events happening when we have our innovation lab. During our first innovation lab, IT was pushing an update on one of the programs, which affected us a little bit. So that was, that we didn't anticipate. So we thought about it. And now that we plan our innovation labs, we think about three things. So make sure IT is not pushing anything through because it's all technology based, right? If we would be in the same room, it wouldn't matter. But because we're all connected through laptops, it's important. The other thing, we make sure that nothing, no other big events happen at the agency. You know, we have general assembly certain times of the year that everybody focuses on that. There are other events happening, so we want to make sure that we don't compete or pull resources from the other event. And finally, being responsible for the transportation facilities in the state, we're really affected by severe weather. So if there's projected snowstorm, or is it severe thunderstorms that cause flooding in some areas, we usually have a backup date when we schedule these innovation labs. We usually have a backup date if it happens around the severe weather season. So we learned those are rudimentary things, but they make our innovation labs successful. And I know I kind of flew through all of this. There's a lot to unpack there, but because we couldn't connect early, I wanted to respect everybody's times. And I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Natalia. You did fly through them, but I think your program's really well explained. And I think we get questions all the time about like, what would an office of innovation or a department of innovation do? And I think the way you've outlined both the purpose of the labs and your office is really great. That the kind of quadrants that you had, the leading, enabling, partnering, and monitoring, I think that makes a lot of sense. And we've had a high amount of engagement, lots of questions coming in through chat and through our Q&A module. So I thought maybe one of the questions that I've been writing down my questions as we went through too, and one of the other audience members also had this question, so I thought I'd start here. What are the qualifications, or how do you train your team mentors? What pool are you drawing from for that talent?
Well, so honestly, we do not train our team mentors. We have a quick orientation for them just to kind of give them the lay of the land in terms of this is what agenda is going to be. This is what we want you to be involved in, and this is the things we don't want you to affect. Usually we have a ton of people in the agency who have been experienced and they've been very supportive of innovative processes, so they've been innovators themselves. So a lot of times they volunteer. A lot of times we reach out and say, hey, will we be willing to do that? We're just looking for experienced folks that always been championing innovation cause, so to speak, and who would be willing. So there's no particular criteria we have. It's more feel, gut feel at this point. And as always, we just ask for volunteers. I guess we've been fortunate when we ask for volunteers, the volunteers come up. And
I think it's a good sign of your program's like efficacy that you've got volunteers who want to be a part of the process.
Absolutely.
One of the questions that somebody had was, first of all, which tool do you use to collect ideas? Somebody asked that, as well as how many ideas are at the beginning of the process and how many at the end of the funnel?
Good question. So which tool we use to collect ideas? We use Idea Scale. Obviously, we call it Idea Driver internally. But as I said, we launched in April, and it has been a great tool. In terms of how many ideas in the beginning of the process, so we had our Innovation Lab, one in September and one in October. So it's still very fresh and new. So for one of the labs, we had about 46 ideas at the beginning of the process. There were 5 teams, so 5 ideas got presented, 1 idea won. But again, so right now we're working through the rest of the ideas. And usually at the end of the process, while we haven't experienced the complete end of the process because it's been just such a short period of time since the Innovation Lab to today. But I anticipate they're going to be probably at least 3 coming out of there. From what I know already, people were interested in working, and potentially 8 to 10. So in one of our districts, and now just in the other district, we ended up with about 26, I think, ideas posted. 5 came through in the presentation, 1 winner, and I know at least 3 ideas they are already being worked outside because somebody, district engineer, thought they're great ideas and they wanted to jump on them. Maybe 6 months from now, how many were exactly implemented? But unfortunately, because it's been just a month and a half from one and 2.5 from another, none of it got implemented. But I know there's a lot of good work going on around those ideas.
Somebody was asking, I think, about the piloting phase when you're developing that proof of concept. They wanted to know if the proof of concept involved getting actual users testing whatever the service or solution is, or is it more like a mock-up or just an artifact?
Very good question. Users testing is great. So one of the examples, it didn't come from Innovation Lab, but came from Idea Driver Idea. One of our engineers developed a ferry app. The ferry captain always had a lot of paperwork, and it's all manual forms. So we developed. It took a ton of time, and it was messy. And the papers on the ferry, it's not very user friendly or process or efficiency friendly. So somebody suggests, why don't we create an app? So the captain just checks the things in the app. And we have one of our engineers from Salem District developed the app and worked with the captain of the ferry. And now captain is actually testing the app, live testing. They're doing 2. They're doing the old way in the paperwork, and they're testing and piloting the app just side by side. So yes, most of the time it's not just a mock-up, it's a real deal.
And then we've had a couple of people asking questions about implementation, which I know for many of these, you're still trying to figure out how many of them are going to make it all the way through to the final implementation stage. But when it comes to who's implementing it, how big is the implementation team? Is it the team that came up with the idea, or are they partnering with business units? Or are you partnering outside the organization? How do you get those ideas through?
So this is an excellent question, and the answer is yes, all of the above. So again, it depends on the idea and its magnitude. For some ideas, folks that suggested them, they have the aptitude and the skill set and the knowledge to be part of the team. For some ideas, somebody had a great idea, but they may not have a skill set, so they don't necessarily have to be on the team, but they're always welcome to be on the team. A lot of times, the team, the implementation team, somebody from Office of Strategic Innovation will be more acting like a liaison to monitor and guide through the process, and then there will be subject matter experts if a solution requires somebody from IT or somebody from engineering. So we'll have team members from each team, and we'll have the pilot or implementation coordinator. It's also depends on, is it a statewide implementation or is it particular division and district implementation, right? So there will be different players there. And sometimes we will hire a consultant to help us with it. So it's really, truly depends on the magnitude and the scale of idea itself. If it's something like change in process, it might require one thing. Is it something, there's some ideas, a lot of safety ideas come through that just require shop making something, like a chuck to go under the truck tire so truck doesn't roll down the hill or whatever. So it's a different scale of project, right? Different different approach for implementation.
Somebody wants to know, what would you say has been the most valuable outcome accomplished with the help of these innovation labs so far?
The most helpful thing is people feeling empowered to solution, to come up with ideas, and they know that no idea is a small idea or bad idea. They feel comfortable to get engaged. I think they feel empowered to suggest solutions. They understand that the opinion matters, and we want to hear. Everybody wants to hear their opinion because it's maybe a great solution for the agency. Just understanding the process overall. What is our innovation process? How does that work? I think that I wish I'd say it was just one idea or another, but I think it's greater than that, and it's more in terms
of culture shift is sort of the big win. Yeah, absolutely. We've had a few questions come in about partnerships. One, like you said, that's one of the kind of the pillars of how you get things done. Somebody wanted to know if you would ever consider partnering with labs outside the States. And somebody else wanted to know how much of your time is spent focusing on the internal incubation of solutions and ideas versus the external discovery or partner relationship development with third parties to bring ideas to life.
Oh, good questions. I think it would be interesting to contemplate innovation lab within another agency. Perhaps it just got to be the right fit in terms of the objectives and what we're looking to accomplish, right? It would be great to discuss this further. Absolutely. And I'm sorry, remind me the second question.
The second question was more about the time spent internally incubating the solution versus the external discovery or relationship development.
A lot of innovation is kind of pressured on us. I mentioned connected and autonomous vehicles. We have a person dedicated to it that actually spends a lot of time doing all external research and connecting the dots and making sure we're prepared, right? We have a team, a data science team. It's an internal team, but a lot of times they look outside to figure out how maybe somebody else did something. I don't think we measured truly how much time has been spent on one and another, but I know that we do both. And we also have a lot of people reaching out to us with various innovation from different consulting firms with the proposed solutions to, the companies that do construction. They have the special spray that doesn't let cement deteriorate in a tunnel or something like that. A lot of those innovations we don't have to look for. They come to us and say, please pick me, or can I show you what we have?
Sure. All right. And we're already over time. Thank you so much for being so generous with this time. I'm going to ask two more questions, Natalia, and then we'll give you your time back to you. So one question is about capacity. So you've given us an overview of the program, but from an admin perspective, setting up the meetings, the agendas, running the technology, organizing the mentors, how many staff are involved in keeping this program running?
So if we're talking about the whole innovation program, or we're talking about innovation labs per se. So for Office of Strategic Innovation, we have about 14 people. As I said, we have a team of folks dedicated to connect an autonomous vehicle. We have a team of folks do everything with data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. there's one person, me, dedicated to idea driver, putting together the campaigns, moderating, and so forth. We have another person dedicated to innovation labs. She helps the teams from the district to build. Again, we don't do anything for anybody. We enable and we support. We're there, but the team from the district comes in. They usually have 1 to 2 people, and they organize and build and communicate and everything else, because it's got to be like grassroots movement, right? We don't want to come from a central office. You're going to do innovation lab. It's got to be driven from within. So we have folks working on multitude. I think we have about 45 various projects going on within our team. So I don't know if it's answering the question or not. So
I think it's interesting that you've put people in charge of separate parts of it, that you have this office, but it's like somebody's in charge of idea drivers, somebody else is doing the lab, somebody else is kind of helping to monitor new technology. And that ownership probably makes sure things get done.
Right. We all help each other and jump in. The lady who's in charge of innovation labs, Candace Gibson, and I work very close together. So we really support each other. And we, within the team, support each other. Data science team may support somebody on another project. So it's we all work together and support each other. But yes, there got to be some sort of responsibility in the guiding person that gets things from inception to the implementation.
All right, last question. If another organization wanted to implement a program similar to yours, an innovation program similar to yours, what would you recommend as the first steps that they take?
Figure out what their priorities, why they're doing it, and what outcomes do they want to see. Begin with the end in mind. Everything else will fall in place, I think. Yeah, I think if you just want to do innovation is so broad. What are you trying to accomplish?
Thank you so much, Natalia. I mean, it's a great overview. We still have people who have questions left, so maybe we can have them connect with you now that the event is over.
Absolutely. Please feel free to share my email address. I neglected to put it in the slide deck, but I'll be happy to hear and collaborate. So
I will. I'll make sure that that's available after the event, along with the recording. And I believe we're going to have a version of the slides available for people as well.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time. Thank you for staying late. Really cool program that you've created, Natalia, and have a great rest of your December.
Thank you so very much for an opportunity to share. Thank you, Jessica. Good luck, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.